Welcome back to another conference tournament prediction video, and today we're doing the Horizon League. We're doing all 31 conference tournaments right here on this channel, so make sure you subscribe if you're new. This is our fourth one, I believe, and like I said, over the next 2 weeks, we are doing all 31, so make sure you subscribe and turn on the notice to make sure you don't miss whenever we upload any of these, because, yes, it is finally March, and content is just ramping up right now, so... But let's go ahead and get into the bracket. Starting off with the 8-9 game, Wright State versus IU Indy. Now, IUPUI used to be in this conference. They are now in D2, I believe, or at least not in this conference. I think they're D2 now. And IU Indy, I think IUPUI like split or something. It was a weird thing I was looking at. They like split, and now they're IU Indy. I'm not really sure. I was kind of confused, but all you need to know is Wright State versus IU Indy 8-9 game. I think this one pretty clearly goes to Wright State. They're quite a bit higher in terms of KenPom. They actually have a really good offense. The defense definitely holds them back because their offense is inside of the top 130 in KenPom. So I thought that was definitely interesting. I think that's enough for them to get past this little first round here. Oakland versus Green Bay. Now Green Bay is absolutely abysmal. They're one of the bottom 30 teams this year in terms of overall KenPom, and I mean they're 4-27. I don't think there's any chance Oakland loses. You don't really need to know much about Oakland to determine this. I mean, you just by looking at Green Bay alone, I mean I think Oakland should have enough. They have a top 200 offense and just barely missing a top 200 defense. And they're actually ranked ahead of Youngstown State in terms of overall KenPom, which I thought was interesting. Northern Kentucky versus Detroit Mercy, kind of the same thing with Green Bay. I mean, Detroit Mercy is actually ranked below Green Bay in overall KenPom, so I'm going to take Northern Kentucky for that reason. I just think, I mean, Detroit Mercy has one of the worst offenses in all of FBS. I mean, they have uh, Detroit Mercy has been at the bottom of this conference for it feels like forever. I mean, I don't remember when the last time Detroit Mercy wasn't either a 10 or an 11 in this conference. I mean, they have been abysmal. Last year they were like the worst team ever. They're not as bad this year, but they're still really bad. So I'm going to take Northern Kentucky pretty easily. But moving on to the quarterfinals, we got Robert Morris, the top dog in this conference this year. They're 23-8. And yeah, they have a very solid team. They're one of only two teams in this conference to be plus in terms of overall KenPom, but there are two teams very close to that. We'll get to that in a bit. But like I said, I mean, Wright State's offense, I could see a world where they could maybe get Robert Morris uncomfortable. They're actually ranked ahead of Robert Morris in offense, but I think defensively Robert Morris has enough to slow him down. Robert Morris's defense is ranked 131, and I think they've been so hot as of recently. I can't pick against them here in the first round, so I'm going to take Robert Morris to move on to the semis. Youngstown State versus Purdue Fort Wayne. Now this is definitely an interesting one. You look at the standings, the league standings. Youngstown State is one game ahead, but they have the same overall record. They're 19-12 each. I think Purdue Fort Wayne gets up for this one. I think they get it done. They tend to play better against good teams, and I would say Youngstown State is a better team than most of this conference. I mean, you see that they're a 4 seed, and Purdue Fort Wayne is actually the third highest ranked team in overall KenPom efficiency. So I like that. I'm gonna go ahead and take them. They have just narrowly outside of a top 100 offense as well, which I think is very interesting. So I'm gonna take them. Like I said, they tend to play good against some of the better teams in this conference. Just a little inconsistent at times. Milwaukee versus Oakland. This one, I'm going to be honest, I didn't really think about Oakland too much here. I'm going to go ahead and take Milwaukee. Milwaukee's the highest ranked team in terms of KenPom in this conference. They are very well rounded. They're top 150 in both offense and defense, and they're actually the favorite to win this conference as the 3 seed. Interesting. Don't usually see that, but that is the case. Oakland is a top 200 team in KenPom, and they do have a top 200 offense. But like I said, Milwaukee, just on both sides of the ball, I think is better, more equipped to win this game. So I'm going to take them. And then the last game, Cleveland State versus Northern Kentucky. I actually switched my pick because, well, I'll get to why. I think if you're smart, you figured out who I'm taking because I'm actually going to take Northern Kentucky. I'm going to take the 7 seed over the 2 seed. I feel like I'm not taking enough upsets. I mean, it is March, the madness. There's going to be upsets. I feel like I got to take more. I haven't really taken that many here in our conference tournament videos, so I'm going to take this one. I think this one could happen. I think there's a chance. You look at Cleveland State; they have a very strong defense, and that's definitely going for them. They're 123 in defense, one of the better KenPom rankings in this entire conference. Actually, the second highest ranking besides just individually, besides Purdue Fort Wayne's offense. So that's definitely something to look at. Their defense is very solid. And you look at Northern Kentucky, they're a little bit more of a defensive team as well. And they're not great in KenPom. They're actually below Wright State. They're one of the lower teams. They're actually I'm trying to think. They're the 8th, so I guess that kind of makes sense. But yeah, one of the lower teams in KenPom. You look at just off of that, you wouldn't think Northern Kentucky would win. But when you look at how they've been playing as of recently, Cleveland State has lost I think like 4 of their last 6. I want to say. They have not been good at all recently. Yeah, they've lost 4 of their last 6. They've lost 5 of their last 8 as well. And granted, some of those were against good teams, but they lost to Wright State, Oakland, not crazy good teams. I mean, in this stretch, Cleveland State has not been playing good as of recently. I look at their roster, I don't really see anything too crazy. And then when looking at Northern Kentucky's been pretty hot as of recently. They're on a 4-game win streak right now, and they've won a good amount in a row. I think they've won like 7 of their last 8, I want to say. I mean, Northern Kentucky has really been, or maybe it's 8 of their last 10, something like that. They've won a good amount in their last 8, 10 games. And like I said, they're on a 10-game win streak. Sorry, not a 10-game win streak, a 4-game win streak. As well as they have a guard named Trey Robinson. He's averaging 16 points a game. I really like him. They have really good guard play. Their top 4 scorers are all guards. You want to look for guard play in March. That's what gets you far. I think Northern Kentucky can pull the upset. I think they get to the semifinals to take on Robert Morris. Although I don't think they get past Robert Morris here. I don't see them getting a crazy Cinderella. Maybe. I mean, Cleveland State and Robert Morris are very similar teams. Both teams like to slow the game down. Actually, not. I would say Cleveland State's a little bit different just because they like to slow the game down and grind it out with their defense. Robert Morris is better defensively than offensively as well, but they don't slow it down as much. So I think that could hurt Northern Kentucky's chances just because offensively they're not anything special. And then Milwaukee versus Purdue Fort Wayne. I actually went back and forth on this one. I was really in between who I wanted to take because, like I said, Purdue Fort Wayne's been pretty solid. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Purdue Fort Wayne may have beaten them both times in the regular season, I want to say. Yeah, Purdue Fort Wayne at 2-0 against Milwaukee this season. Both were very close games. I think Milwaukee gets them the third time around. It's very hard to beat a team 3 times, no matter who you are. And Milwaukee is the most well-rounded, you could argue the most complete team in this conference. There's a reason they're the favorite. There's a reason they're the highest-ranked team in KenPom. I think they get it done, although I think this game will be very close, and I wouldn't be surprised if Purdue Fort Wayne did find a way to the championship game, but that's going to set up a 1-3 championship game. Robert Morris taking on Milwaukee. And I'm not sure who I want to take. I feel like there's a lot of teams that could win this conference. I have the sneaky team, Northern Kentucky. Cleveland State is definitely a team that could win. Purdue Fort Wayne as well. Even like Wright State could even make some noise. Don't cut out Youngstown State as well. This is definitely a wide open conference, I would say. But I do think these are the 2 best teams, so I'm going to have them in the finals. Who do I think will win, though? I do think Milwaukee is the more well-rounded team. I think they're the more complete team. And you look at Milwaukee, they have great guard play. But I'm actually going to take Robert Morris just because of the fact that they have been on an absolute tear recently. They've won 7 games in a row, and I think they've won some crazy number. I forget what it was. It was like 13 of the last 14 or 12 of the last 14, something like that. I mean, Robert Morris has been on an absolute tear in the past month or so. And yeah, so I'm gonna take them over Milwaukee. You could argue Milwaukee should win. They are the favorite as the 3 seed. It looks like I'm taking chalk because I'm taking the 1 seed, but Milwaukee is the favorite. But I think Robert Morris is capable of hanging with them. These are two teams that are pretty well paced, pretty fast paced, which you could argue could favor Milwaukee. But I think Robert Morris can slow them down enough to get the win. I just trust their defense. I think overall ranked 131 in defense. That's higher than both Milwaukee is in offense and defense. And I know Robert Morris offensively, but I think they can hit some shots. They've been playing really well, like I said, as of recent. I think they carry that momentum into the Horizon League tournament, and I think they get it done. I think they punch their ticket to the tournament. So yeah, I got Robert Morris, but let me know what you guys got. Do you guys got Milwaukee, or do you guys got somebody else like Cleveland State, Purdue, Fort Wayne? Just let me know in the comments. Love to talk down there, and thank you for the support on these. We're going to keep them coming. Like I said, all 31 are coming in the next 2 weeks, so that is what you can expect. That is going to happen 100%, but that is going to do it. Not only do we have college basketball content, we do college football, NFL, NBA, and MLB when those seasons are going. So yeah, if any of that interests you, please go down there, subscribe, turn on the noties. Would love to have you join the community we're trying to build. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time with another conference tournament prediction video.